What's going on, you guys? So what you are currently looking at is a small improvised wheat field that is growing in the abandoned Heckscher Pools here on Long Island. This place has been left completely unattended for a very long time, and it shows. So recently, I've been going around a lot of these filthy, abandoned back rooms, like liminal spaces all over Long Island. Turns out this is a really weird island. There's a lot of bizarre stuff going on here. I've been going here because I like to film music videos in places like this, but lately I've become so obsessed with these areas I want to do a little bit more, so I'm doing full-blown documentaries. I want to look into what these places were, why they were open, why they're abandoned, and what's going on. So in 1929, the Heckshire State Park officially opens up, and then 1 year later in 1930 they officially open up the swimming complex with all the bathhouses and stuff. I think over time they slowly added more and more bathhouses, but I think by the end of 1933 this entire complex was finished and ready to go. So as for what these little buildings are, they seem pretty interesting, they seem a little odd, but there's not a whole lot going on with them. From what I've come to gather, all of these little buildings, they're either going to be a concession stand or just like a makeshift little bathhouse, and I personally was not able to get into them. It's very difficult. They're boarded up really tight, and there are a few areas where the wood is coming off and you can kind of look into the building, but not really. Anytime I found an area where you could pull the wood off, behind the wood would be either concrete or some sort of bulletproof glass, like shatterproof glass. These buildings are boarded up tight. From what I was reading, 2009 was the last fully functioning season that this pool was open and you were able to swim in it. It says in 2010 it was a temporary shutdown. I'm not too sure if it was at the beginning of the season or in the middle of the season. And then immediately the next year, in 2011, the temporary shutdown became a permanent shutdown, and it's just been rotting abandoned ever since. So this place has been just completely abandoned, rotting for a solid 15 or 16 years at this point. Now, as for why this pool actually shut down, the story is a little bizarre. You did have to pay to get into this pool, like most other public pools, but for whatever reason, all the money that this pool made, it went directly back to New York State, and this pool didn't keep any of it. This pool solely survived off handouts from New York State. So what wound up happening in 2008, when the entire world was struggling with the housing crisis, the entire world took a giant financial hit. New York State couldn't necessarily keep funding this pool, so they cut all funding in 2008. And it only took a year or two for this pool to completely bleed dry because it wasn't making any of its own revenue. I find this odd because I've been to other pools on Long Island. For the most part, every other public pool, whatever money they make, they use to upkeep the pool. It feels like they purposefully let this thing die, and I'm not too sure why. Now, why this thing is still standing, they have zero plans to demolish this site. They said it would just be an unnecessary waste of money. It would genuinely be millions of dollars to completely demolish this place. It's all just one giant concrete platform with other concrete buildings on top of it. It's a lot of concrete to smash, destroy, and move. So New York State declared they would rather spend their money on other functioning state parks, something like Jones Beach, things that are actually still in use. It's kind of a waste of money to spend millions of dollars just destroying this old pool. Honestly, it looks like nature's doing a pretty good job. Give it a few more years, this entire thing's gonna be grown over anyway. Now, a lot of these back rooms, hallways, and like, liminal spaces that I'm going into right now, they're definitely creepy and they're definitely cool to look at, but at the end of it, they don't really go anywhere all too interesting. For the most part, they either lead to like a locker room or a bathroom. I'm not entirely too sure what the rules were here. There were a couple of signs that said no trespassing, but there was also this gate that was just wide open, so come at your own discretion. I don't know if you're allowed to be in here or not. Over here is like the kiddie section. There was like a little 1 foot water area here. There's some turtles over here. I'm not too sure what they would have done. I don't know if these turtles would have sprayed water. And then this is the last area of note. You just have this ramp. I'm pretty sure this ramp would have gone directly to the beach. It looks like it's wide enough for cars to go through. It's just so horribly overgrown, you can't even see the beach from here. So that was the abandoned Heckscher Pools. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to see myself out. I'll see you later.